Hello everyone and welcome to week 10. This is your challenge 2 lesson of the week. It's the only lesson of the week that I'm going to be doing because I don't want people to feel under pressure because they've been in school, but there's plenty of revision to do. All the model answer booklets are there, and hopefully these challenges are just helping to bring all your knowledge together. So coming on to the next slide. So as I should have mentioned in the last slide, today's lesson is about describing your strengths and weaknesses, because I think what we're very good at is explaining our weaknesses prior to our PDPs, but actually you had lots of strengths prior to completing any PDPs. You had lots of strengths in lots of different activities across all the different factors, so we're just going to look into how to describe them and also how to describe weaknesses, because we always explain, but sometimes you get asked to describe, and obviously it's not hard at all, but it's just good to go over it. So what I want you to do just now is I want you to look at the 4 factors table below, which is what the SQA used to break down the 4 factors. In the first column you'll see mental, in the second column you'll see the emotional factors, third social, and the 4th, 5th and 6th are all physical factors. They come under different headings though. So I want you to look through all of these, pause the video here and pick some things that you know were strengths of yours prior to any PDP you took part in higher PE. So do that just now, because you definitely had them. So we're moving on to how to describe these strengths that you had. If you know there were strengths, you'll know already how they impact on your performance. So to begin to learn how to describe them, you've done some of this in the past, I'm going to show you this explain answer. So most of you had really good cardiorespiratory endurance, which impacts positively on all your performances and all your activities that you take part in school and out of school. So if this was an explain question, explain your strengths prior to any PDP, or just explain your strengths in sport full stop, it would be FACI, because for explain the impact on performances you use FACI. So you would say my cardiorespiratory endurance has a positive impact on my performance in the activity of netball. The C would be the context, which is what you would see on the pitch. Is at the end of the game I'm still able to keep moving around the court to mark my opponent. Now it's key that you say the end of the game, because cardiorespiratory endurance is about your body being able to keep going for a long period of time. So if you don't say at the end of the game, that's basically just speed. So don't talk about that. So you would say at the end of the game I'm still able to keep moving around the court to mark my opponent. And the impact of that on performance is meaning they are denied space the whole game, making it harder for them to gain possession. Okay, so that's how you would explain the strength. We're going to move on to the next slide now, and we're going to look at how we change this into a describe answer. So how do we change this into a describe answer? Well, you convert the explain answer by removing any of the breakdown letters, the FACI, because describe doesn't have any acronym to break it down. You're just painting that picture of who, what, where, when, and how something is happening. My cardiorespiratory endurance has a positive impact on my performance in netball. At the end of the game, I'm still able to keep moving around the court to mark my opponent, and they are denied space the whole game, making it harder for them to gain possession. So that's it converted into describe. So have a look at that, what's changed. So make note of that, what's changed in that answer. So what you should have seen in that last answer, the thing that's changed is obviously we've removed the breakdown of it. It's become one paragraph, which is what we want to see for describes, but also that meaning changed to and you can see that because I've highlighted it in red there. But I want you to see how you're getting marks in this. That's a 1 mark describe answer, and that's because there's 3 points of description to that small paragraph there. And the first point of description is highlighted with the brackets, and it says my cardiorespiratory endurance had a positive impact on my performance in netball. That's the first point of description. At the end of the game, I am still able to keep moving around the court to mark my opponent. That's another point of description. And the last point of description in the last brackets there is, and they are denied space the whole game and making it harder for them to gain possession. That's another point of description, and overall, because there's 3 sets of brackets there, that's 1 mark that the marker would give you there for that describe answer. So here's your first proper task, which is also going to be in your assignment, so you should do it now as part of your lesson. I would like you to look at the four factors table again if you didn't do it the first time that I asked you to at the start of the lesson, and I want you to describe two of your strengths you had before starting any PDP. So when you arrived at higher, what are two of your strengths? So look at the table there, pause the video, and I would like you to use that system of thinking about how much detail you need for an explain answer and how you would change that into a describe answer just by removing the meaning part and making sure that you've got 3 points of description to get the 1 mark for each of your strengths. So look at the table, pick two strengths that you know you have in an activity. It doesn't have to be one we've done in school at all, and tell me how it is a strength by describing it in detail. Paint that picture for me. Do that now. So sometimes you can be asked to describe your weaknesses as well, and we know all our weaknesses. We found them in both of our activities. You could do it in your volleyball, football, or your netball, or you could do it for softball. I've given you a softball answer here, so just to show you how the explain answer would look before we change it into a describe answer again. It's factors our team not knowing their roles and responsibilities can have a negative impact on our performance. Activity in softball. Context, when fielding, if we don't know our role, then we may not be standing in the correct position. So that's what you'd see in the pitch. And then as a result of that, what you'd see in the pitch, the impact of it is meaning that there is a larger gap in the field for the batter to hit into, allowing them to get further round the bases. Now move on to the next slide to see how we change that easily into a describe answer. So this is it converted to describe. So all you'll see this time, I'll not read it out, is again that it changed the word meaning to and. And that's it done. So that's how you convert your weakness into describe, obviously changing it to negative impact on performance, but you're still saying softball, and then you're still saying the context, and you're still saying the impact, but just removing the meaning to and. Now don't worry in the exam, if you do say meaning, it's not going to matter, but that's just good practice to do it correctly. So what I want you to do without looking back at the last slide, if you go back, don't go backwards in the video, is I would like you to put the brackets in for this one, where the points of description. So there's 3 sets of brackets to go in there, and highlight the change of the explain to describing word, just so that you understand what you're doing and that you've done some learning here today. So break it down into the 3 brackets, the points of description, and highlight the explain to describing word by copying it down in your jotter. This is your final task for the day. Is you're going to describe 2 of your weaknesses you had before starting your PDPs. You can choose the ones that we focused on and done a PDP in, or you can choose new ones. It's up to you, but make sure you can describe them with 3 points of description, but you can use your model answer booklet to help you out here. These tasks are on your assignment, so you'll find that assignment posted after you've watched this. See you soon.